listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Biggest Loser After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Biggest Loser After Show.
Oh my God. Yay! Is that what we're going to do every episode?
I like
We
it.
do. Show
Love
the
it.
muscles, flex
Right.
them. Thing is for doing, and we love this music, right? Thing is for doing, and we are here doing another great after show on AFTERBUZZ TV. This is the after show for the Biggest Loser Challenge, season 14, and this is episode number 3. It was
that's
juicy.
right.
We had so much going on. I know we only had one show last week, but we did 2 shows in one. So this week we got to kind of relax a little and enjoy this one because we didn't have to talk about so much more. You know, we're up to date. We know what's going on. We know our contestants a little more. We're a little more familiar with them. Thanks, guys, for tuning in again. And I do want to say thank you to all of you, all 26,000 of you who put us on the top of the iTunes download charts here at AFTERBUZZ TV.
Yes.
We so appreciate it. We just got the numbers in from Phil before our show, and it just blew my mind.
Me too.
I cannot believe that we have so many AFTERBUZZ Biggest Loser fans on board. So that's just going to make us turn up more.
Yes.
I can't
I'm
believe you
like-
guys are watching us.
I know.
I'm
right?
totally
now.
stoked for this being my first AfterBuzz show too. I'm
Right.
really excited.
So we
Yeah.
are going to do our best to entertain you. We are already in talks of getting some of the trainers on the show. We had Dolvet, my favorite trainer,
Yes.
Instagram at me last week saying that he is all on board for this AFTERBUZZ after show. So that's awesome.
He said he was all on buzz for curvy girls.
Oh, this
Remember
is true.
that?
This is true. He did love his curvy girls, but who are
Yes.
fit also.
Of course.
But again, I'm your host, back again. It's Fallon Mercedes at Miss Mercedes, and I have my 2 new favorite co-hosts.
Yay.
You guys can introduce yourselves.
Hi, guys. I'm Lauren. You could call me Lo. A lot of people around here call me that.
Oh, I like that. That's
yeah.
cute.
Yeah, it's kind of a nickname. So you guys could call me that.
And I'm James Wallington, and I'm so excited to be back here. It's been a long week, but I always look forward to Monday nights now.
Now, for those of you guys out there who are watching, if you notice, we are all wearing our team's colors. I am red, for that is Team Dolvets. We have Lauren wearing white for...
Yes, my favorite Jillian. I love her.
And
blue for Team Bob. Hello, the best team, might I add.
But I have to say, even though I'm wearing white and Jillian is my favorite trainer and I can't watch this show without her, I love all the trainers. And I love that they are all here for the same purpose. They are all backing each other's contestants. So in that same way, I am also backing your teams.
yes.
Agreed.
I will wear white and I will represent Jillian, but I love the contestants on all the other teams, and it's a really exciting show
We're
this season.
all in this
Together. Go team.
It's fun because we're competing, but at the same time, we're really, like they said, we're all supporting each other. As much as I was getting on Jillian last week, I do have this love for her. I do like how she pushes her contestants, her teammates, the people on her team. So it is pretty nice. But all right, let's jump into it, you guys. I know we have so much to talk about. This episode was so fun. The first thing that we want to talk about is the trivia challenge today. And the challenge was answering questions about child obesity. There were so many facts that even I was surprised. What did you guys think about the trivia challenge
I was
today?
astounded by a lot of the facts that were revealed to us tonight. I mean, we kind of played along when they would ask a question. We'd all kind of guess, like, is it A, B, C, or D? And it would always just, like, my jaw would drop to the floor, and I'd be like, gotta pick my jaw back up. Like, it was just shocking, because, again, knowledge is power with this. And they kept saying that. If you don't have the knowledge, then you're not going to really take the right steps to be healthy.
Now, what was the most shocking fact
Oh my gosh.
that you learned on the trivia challenge today?
Well, there's a lot of percentages. So I think for me it was the ages 5 to 10 already risk like heart factors, that's a 60%.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
60% of 5 to 10-year-olds already risk heart factors.
And if you guys were watching, assuming that you were, I think what's interesting here and what a lot of people don't know, the first question was about ages 2 to 19 years old, the percentage of obese youth. And it was 17%, which actually I think we all thought it would be higher. So that was kind of a surprising number to me, just because of the way we emphasize it. I mean, 17, it's horrible already, but I thought it was going to be shockingly horrible at like 39%, which would have been another option. But the thing we don't realize, that 60% of kids 5 to 10 years that already have a risk factor for heart disease, you know, you don't have to be obese or overweight. You could be a skinny kid and have risk factors for heart disease. You know, it's really just about what you're actually putting in your body, what kinds of fats. That kid might have a fantastic metabolism. They're playing all the time and be thin by nature, but if they're not eating the right foods, you don't know what fat is around their heart, or, you know, and what areas their fat percentage is. So I think that's what's interesting about this entire quiz is it's just surprising numbers.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
One of the numbers that surprised me was the past 3 decades, child obesity has tripled.
Yes.
Tripled.
That was my shocker too. I thought it was going to be doubled.
I knew it was going to be a lot, but I felt like tripled.
Yeah.
That is crazy. And another thing that kind of stuck out to me, which I knew already, but you know, there's so many calories that go wasted that we are consuming. And for children, it's mostly the wasted sugars and solid fats. So a lot of it is those drinks. You think these kids are drinking juice. No, they're drinking syrup and sugar. That's all they're drinking. You know, so if you do have children out there, or even yourself, you know, if you're doing this challenge with us, which we'll talk more later about, you definitely want to watch what you're drinking. Try to stick to water. Sometimes, you know, you want something else to drink. That's fine, but it's really about moderation. You know, how much juice are you drinking a day compared to water? You really have to, you know, take that in when you're wondering, what are you consuming? What are you taking in your body? So that trivia challenge was pretty shocking,
you know,
eye-opening.
After looking over my notes again, the thing that I think was actually most shocking to me was that last question before the red team won, about parents who really think that their kids are fine and they're not obese and that they're not unhealthy. That was 75% of adults who have children think that their kids are fine when they're really obese.
I totally believe that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you know why? Because I feel like a lot of the times, you know, what the kids are eating, the parents are eating too. So a lot of times maybe they're not realizing how bad the food is that they're actually giving to their children. You know, and also, I'm not a parent, and I can only imagine how hard it would be, you know, to realize that your kid is obese, but I imagine you wouldn't want to. You know, you'd be somewhat in denial. And I think that's the hardest part, is actually admitting it to yourself that your kid is overweight and obese, because they don't want to take the blame for it. You know, it's guilt.
And I also think a lot of it is, these parents aren't educated. They don't even know what they're taking in.
That's what I'm saying.
And I can admit this myself. I'm a trainer, and sometimes my mind will be blown at what I just ate. Sometimes I'll look at, you know, the package afterwards, and I feel like hurling, because I'm like, did I really just eat this? And I didn't even know. We are so accustomed to taste. Oh, if it tastes good. We don't even realize that it's not just about taste. It's what's in it. You know, everything that you taste or you taste good to you is not good for your body. So I think that's something that we all need to do, is really educate ourselves and be aware. We have Bing at, you know, our fingertips. We can go on Bing and type it in, what is in this? And it will pop up like that. We can't use that excuse anymore that we don't know, because it's right in front of us. We have the tools. We can access it. Just like you guys are watching AfterBuzz TV online or listening on iTunes, you guys can go out and find out what you're consuming. So.
Right. And I think harder part of the challenge is understanding what you're eating. It's not just looking at the labels and reading it, it's knowing it. Because like what you mentioned, kids are really getting their sugar, or most of their sugar, from these sweetened drinks. Well, you could sit there and say there's too much sugar. You can't just look at the label and see what the percentage is of sugar. Or you can't just look in the ingredients and look for sugar, because there's so many different names for sugar, like different kind of alcohols. So I think taking it an extra step, and I know it's hard and it's kind of confusing to look at all these names in your ingredients and actually learn about what they are, but I'm telling you, and I know this just because I've actually taken a class on it and really had to study it, that when you take the time to look into that, it's really going to open your eyes to what you're eating. So, I mean, I think that just goes to show you how this sugar sweetened drinks, I mean, you don't just look at the sugar percentage, you know, or don't just look at real fruit juice. That doesn't mean anything. You know, too much sugar is too much sugar, whether it's real sugar or it's fake sugar. You really need to educate yourself on that.
And some of the contestants, as you can see, you know, there was a loser team. They weren't as educated as I thought they would be. And the loser team would be stuck in this place called the kids' room. And it was really a temptation challenge. And what the kids' room consisted of was tons and tons and tons of unhealthy food. I seen donuts. I seen candy. I seen Twinkies. It was horrible. And they had to stay in the room, whoever's team lost, for 4 hours. And there was a video game. Yes, a day for 5. Was it 5 or 7? I know it was a whole week. I think
it was probably for the full
week.
I think it was 5 days.
Yeah,
I don't know if they really specified.
But I was just thinking, and you know, they couldn't have their workouts during that time. They had to do the workouts after. So I was just thinking, oh no, whoever loses this is going to be in big trouble. And whose team turned out to lose it was?
Bob's.
Bob's team.
I was a little disappointed, but you know, I felt very confident when I saw that they lost, that they would be really great at sticking to their guns and not being tempted by what was in their room. So, which we see later on.
And Alex of Bob's team, you know, I give her a lot of credit because she was thinking like I was thinking, how can I be in this room? And I was just imagining myself in that room. How can I be in this room for 4 hours for a whole week? And not go crazy. So what she did was she took orange juice, she lined up all the snacks, all the Twinkies, all the donuts, and she poured orange juice on all of them. So they would just be ruined. So if they wanted to eat them, it would just be disgusting. So I think that helped out a lot. We did see a lot of sleeping, and I know you were laughing.
I was dying laughing. But to go back on what you're saying about this challenge, I agree with you, James. I too was more confident in the blue team. I think actually I would have been confident in maybe any team that was going in there because they were going in there as a team. In a lot of the temptation challenges that you see in previous Biggest Loser seasons, you know, you might have to walk into the room alone. You know, or it's, you know, there's a catch to it. Like if you eat so much, I don't know, you almost can benefit from it, but you're taking a risk because you're also gaining weight from it. So this one, they were really just risking their workout time. That's what they were sacrificing anyways, but they were in there as a team. So you know that even if you wanted to go and eat that donut, you have like, what, 4 or 5 people there that are going to stop you.
That's true.
Because you're risking the weigh-in for them as well. So I was more confident in the team for that reason. And also, when we saw Alex pour that orange juice over right away, I just thought that was the best thing anybody could have done. And because I'm such a huge Jillian Michaels fan, that is one of her tactics that I've read about in one of her books, that she always says, you know, you go out to dinner and they serve you bread, they bring you bread with your food. She says, dump salt all over the bread. Just open the salt shaker, dump it all over the bread. Pour your soda on it. Do whatever you need to do for your health, and do it for yourself. It might sound crazy, it might sound stupid, but if you're not strong enough to tell them to take it away and you have to sit there and stare at it, if you have just a second of willpower and can like ruin your bread, go right ahead and do it.
I love that.
You know?
I love that. I will steal that.
And one of the greatest things, and I think about this all the time, a lot of people don't want to waste food. And somebody might hear that and say, how could you waste food? There's so many starving people. And that's very true. You don't want to waste food if you don't have to. But if you are not wasting it in that way and you actually choose to eat it, it's waste in your body because you definitely don't need it, and it's going to be that much harder to get rid of it.
I agree.
So keep that in mind when you don't want to throw out leftover food, you don't want to get rid of it because you feel guilty. Think about, you're just actually damaging yourself in consuming it rather than getting rid of it.
One of my my tricks, I guess you can say, I'm the same way. I think the same way. Like, I grew up not the richest, and my mom would say all the time, you cannot waste food, eat what's here. And, she would cook so much rice and beans. I'm Dominican. So it was just overwhelming amount of food that, isn't the greatest for your body. So now what I do, if I go out to eat and I've paid for the meal and I don't want to throw away the leftovers, I'll take the leftovers away. And here in LA, there's so many homeless people.
Oh, yeah.
And I will find a homeless person and give it to them. Yeah. And it's like, you know what? It's joy for them. They have a meal they don't have to worry about, and you're not wasting food. So it's
a win-win.
Yeah,
yep,
I'm not
absolutely.
putting more calories that I don't need into my body, and I'm helping somebody else out.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something you guys out there could do. If you don't want to waste food, like we were saying, give it to somebody who needs it. There's so many people out there that need it. Yeah,
is what we're saying.
And you guys, listening on iTunes, again, we appreciate it so much. We're excited to entertain you each week, but also tell a friend. As much as we love the show, I know some of your friends may love the show. Let them know about it, and then maybe they can also join our Biggest Loser challenge.
Yes.
If you haven't joined yet, make yourself a profile. At this point, we can't add anybody yet on the team until we do our weigh-ins. So today we brought our scale, and we will be weighing ourselves, and I know some of us aren't that happy about it.
I don't know. I haven't decided yet.
You guys, we're going to get her on board. She's going to do this. This is a team. We have to get each other on board. And we're going to weigh ourselves in, and each week we're going to come in and, just as they are doing it, we are going to do it. And we hope you guys do it at home.
Yeah.
So.
And also for those of you that are already doing the Biggest Loser challenge on your own, or you have your own team started, that's great too. If you are subscribing to the podcast, please be sure to tell a friend. And, if they're listening in too, this is something for you guys to talk about later. Let us know what you think about what we have to say, or if you want to add to what we have to say, if you agree, if you disagree, comment and tell us what you and maybe your group of friends that are working out together are thinking. I just think this should be a big community effort.
Definitely. I also want to give a shout out to Average John H 1232004. He was one of our YouTube watchers.
Fantastic.
And he just commented how much he loves the show, and he just happened to stumble on our YouTube page and our iTunes podcast, and he loved it. So we just want to appreciate you and give you a shout out and say thank you for listening, and hopefully you'll continue to listen. If you guys, comment, we get you on here, maybe you could call in and chat with us. That'd be fun.
And while we're shouting out, I saw Hilly's Mom 36 and Travis Moonstar on iTunes that commented, and they found us as well. Awesome. And they were tuning in, so we're glad to have you guys. So keep tuning in and call us. If you're watching us live, call us. If not, you can comment on iTunes or comment on YouTube as well, because we do want to know what you are thinking.
Of course.
Now, we have our kids, which we love, and we get to see them in this episode, and they have something up their sleeves. What they did was they sent a nutritionist, who is Dr. Joanna, who's a child obesity nutrition specialist, and she goes into their homes and dissects their kitchens. And I was just like, oh my goodness, she is throwing away so much food. And of course, one of our favorites, Bingo, was talking to the nutritionist, telling her how much he watches or plays video games, and it was stunning. He spends 9 hours playing video games. What did you guys think about that?
I was floored, because I'm like, how do you have that much time in your day to do that? From going to school and coming home at night, you just go straight to your video games, because 9 hours is a long time frame.
Well, didn't they say
on the weekends?
9 hours on the weekends, but 5 hours on the weekday.
Oh my gosh.
Which still 5 hours after school. Don't you have homework? I mean, I don't get that. What time are you going to bed?
It makes sense, that he is so heavy.
Yeah.
You are sitting down majority of your day just playing video games. And I don't have children, and I don't want to judge any parents.
Right.
But if I were a parent, I would just, it wouldn't sit well with me that my child is in front of a TV that long every single day. I would want him to be more active, and seeing his situation, he is heavy, but I don't know. I was just happy.
Dr. Joanna even said too, you know, to Bingo's parents, you know, no more than 2 hours of screen time is okay. That's tolerable.
Right.
But 9 hours, holy smokes.
And she also made a great point. She said that 25% of more calories are consumed when you're not concentrating on what you're eating. Because he explained that he does eat while he's in front of the television playing these video games. And that was just some food for thought. You know, I can't even count how many times that I've been on the phone or on the internet and eating, and then it doesn't even feel like I ate my meal.
Right. And then when you actually think about what you ate during the day, you tend to forget about that.
Yes.
Come on. We all sit on the couch and snack. If we're watching a movie at home, we might have popcorn with our movie. I mean, everyone, if you can honestly tell me that you've never done that,
I mean,
I just won't believe you.
When we were in the screening room, I almost went to go get those granola bars, and I was like, oh, shoot.
That's a better choice, though. That's a better choice.
Right.
Shout out to Maria getting granola bars in there because I was bringing bananas and almonds, trying just to stay away from the popcorn and all the chocolate. It's nice to have healthy choices here. So I think this Biggest Loser challenge is actually going to be great for AfterBuzz. We're going to try to get some of our other hosts, and our producer, Marissa, she's going to be joining in with us. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely do it.
Yes.
Yay.
So we have her
Even though you
board.
have not a pound to lose, I don't know.
She looks great. You guys will have to see her. She might be working out with us this weekend, so that'll be fun.
Yes.
All right. So next we see Sunny, and the nutritionist was telling her that, you know, vegetarians, she claims to be a vegetarian, they're not all as healthy as you may seem. And I know this because one of my old roommates was a vegetarian, and the nutritionist was saying that a lot of them are carbohydrate-tarians. And
carbitarians.
Carbitarians, there you go. I read it wrong. But yeah, and that's so true because they're not eating a lot of protein or meat. So she would just binge on carbs, and I'm like, that can't be that great for you either, because your body, what it does with carbs, especially if they're not whole wheat, it kind of processes as sugar. So even with alcohol, that processes as sugar as well. So you're thinking, you know, you're skipping it out on, you know, maybe some meats that have a lot of hormones in them. That's not that great either, but carbs aren't the greatest choice. What are your diets like? When you seen the nutritionist, did you guys think, oh no, I have a lot of things in my refrigerator that I should be throwing out?
I certainly did, because I love my carbs. I ate a lot of pasta. It's the easiest thing to make. I love pasta sauce. We talked about that tonight in the screening room. But I also live with 3 guys. So 4 guys living in one apartment. Like, we eat a lot. You know, we're big boys. We want to eat our food. So yeah, I would be nervous to have Dr. Joanna come into my apartment and go through my pantry and tell me what I'm eating is wrong.
I would say the food that I have at home, I feel like I'm very lucky. I didn't grow up eating a lot of like the cookies or the processed food. Definitely didn't have soda in my house, so I'm not really accustomed to drinking it. So I actually really appreciate that. But carbitarian, that word, I have never heard it before, and I just immediately associated myself with it.
Yep.
I
did too.
have an Italian family, okay? Pasta is like, we live on pasta. Live on it. So I grew up with a lot of pasta, and I'm very drawn to breads. Like, I love bread. I would say my diet, I have snacks. I mean, I do eat healthy. I'll eat yogurt, almonds. I try to eat salads for lunch, and I'll throw in a lean protein. I try not to eliminate much from my diet. But I would say that I'm lacking certain things. I used to be really great with nutrition, and I just kind of have gotten away from that. So I'm really counting on this challenge to bring me back. But I'm lacking vegetables. Like, I need more vegetables in my diet.
I was the exact same way. And what I do now is with every meal, I make myself have a green.
Yeah.
Every single meal, whether it's just stir fry or it's just salad or I have to have at least one green, because I would do the same thing. I would just load up on more carbs instead of greens. So
see, I feel like I'll add like a salad, like whether it's a spinach salad or baby greens, but like broccoli. I really like broccoli, and I used to love broccoli and eat it all the time, and I need to incorporate that. It's so good for you. So there's a lot of really great foods that I'm missing out on that I know of. So.
Okay, we will all work on it as a team.
Yeah,
hold each other accountable.
This season is going to go all the way through March, so hopefully March will come. We will be healthier. We will be better in shape, and we'll feel great about ourselves. So we are all looking forward to that. Now, the last kid that we seen that the nutritionist went to was Lindsay, and she had some devastating news, and it brought everyone to tears. I almost started crying. You know, she's so young, and she was diagnosed with pre-diabetes, and
it's frightening.
And I wonder too, because she even said, Dr. Joanna said that, you know, she has 2 years to make changes. What if Lindsay never got on The Biggest Loser and never caught the fact that she was in this pre-diabetes stage?
2 years before it goes full blown.
Wow.
Yeah, and she would have been diagnosed 2 years later without having never even known that she had pre-diabetes. That's what's so scary. But you know, the worst part of that scene for me was like, you saw Lindsay's face and she looked terrified. She looked terrified. Her mother was crying. You don't really see her sister's reaction, who just kind of sat there, but Lindsay looked terrified, and I cannot imagine being a 13-year-old and learning that about myself. I don't even know that I knew too much of what pre-diabetes was. And when you're that young and maybe don't have an understanding about it, it may even be more terrifying to you. You know, you think you could die. So it's just frightening. It's sad.
I think their family had the biggest wake-up call. And when Dr. Joanna went into her kitchen, the first thing on the counter was a big thing of cookies. And I'm just like, you're doing the Biggest Loser challenge and you just have cookies laying out. I'm like, it's time to get serious. And Dr. Joanna just ripped out everything. Threw away the cookies, threw away, what was it, big thing of frosting? It just looked
I don't know what
unhealthy.
it was.
She threw away so much stuff, and they did that in every home, and it's good because that's where it starts. You know, you have to, it's hard enough to fight the temptation when you're outside of the home, you know, but where you live, where you have to every day wake up and go to your kitchen and there's unhealthy food. I know I face that challenge because I have roommates, and I'm slowly getting them all on board with this challenge because I'm like, I can't do this alone. You know, they all have health goals that they want to meet, and I'm like, if you are serious, this is what you need to do. We need to start in the kitchen. We need to stop cooking all that high and carbs, you know,
frying things, butter.
The butter needs to go. Good. I know. Salted butter is I am just disgusted sometimes when I look into my kitchen and I'm just like, really, guys, really? And then it makes it hard on me because I'm like, temptation in front of me. And I'm like, do you guys know I have a weigh-in on Monday? Can you please stop?
Right.
So I'm a little...
That 26,000 people may be looking at, by the way.
I am so scared to step on that scale, but you know what? I think it's great because it's just going to show us all, you know, how far we need to go and how far we can go with the help of each other, with the help of the show, with the help of you listeners. So it's going to be exciting. Definitely exciting.
I hope
so no more bubble gum, right?
Oh, gosh.
Because bubble gum has a lot of sugar in it, and that's one of the challenges that we've seen. We've seen this carnival gum challenge, which was insane. Do you guys want to talk about it?
Oh, yeah. My favorite part, immediately I was like, oh, my gosh, gum. Do you really think that was gum? Or was it just some sticky paste?
I questioned it. Nasty tar-like substance that looked like a big pull of thick Pepto-Bismol.
And then you get the hay.
Disgusting.
The hay was just stuck to them too, and I'm like, gosh, did it even weigh you down even more? Goodness. But
gross.
I loved when Jackson was getting out of this. He called himself the swamp creature, and he was doing this thing with his hands flailing back and forth, and the gum just like from both hands. And I'm like, yeah, you really do look like a swamp creature. Oh my gosh. But yeah, that was a very entertaining challenge.
Now for this challenge, whoever won would win. The whole team would win 1 year worth of healthy groceries, up to $5,000. That is killer because healthy food is more expensive than unhealthy food. So, you know, when you are trying to lose weight, if you don't have the money, it's difficult. You're at a disadvantage. So I know they were all excited to jump in there and try to win this. Now, out of the challenge, I know you said you liked Jackson, how hard he worked. Who else did you like during the challenge?
Well, I love Kate. I mean, I love Kate. So I loved watching her go through. I loved Fran.
Yes.
Right? I loved her. Fran Selena. I love seeing her. And then there's my girl Danny on the white team, who was put on actually to the blue team because Pam was not cleared. Danny is the athlete. And what I loved about Danny, I think it was Danny who went through and she didn't put her hands down. She walked out of that pit, and she was the only one that really only had it on her feet and ankles. And she just powered through. You didn't hear her grunt. You didn't hear her complain, while everybody else was just like sounded like they were dying a slow death in that pit.
I know when Jackson went through, he got to the point where he looked like he was going to barf.
Oh, yeah.
He was just so disgusted. And he had said this. He was like, I cannot barf in this because then my teammates have to climb through my barf. But that's how disgusting it was. I wonder if any of them will chew bubble gum again. It was just...
I know, because they all were like, I will never chew bubble gum again. I never want to see it. I don't want to smell it ever again. Oh, my gosh.
And it was like that machine ball bubble gum, like the pink, like just... Not your Orbits, but it was like that.
Not your sugar-free.
Exactly.
Trident.
It was kind of crazy, but the team that came out on top is my team, Team Velvet. So I'm excited that they will have lots of money to buy healthy groceries with when they return home.
And I mean, I'm Team Bob. Of course, I was rooting for them. But, you know, also to know Lisa's case and that she has a family back at home with 4 kids, I think it's very important that she won that. And that's going to help her family out a great deal.
That was huge for her. Yeah, I agree.
It was very interesting, these challenges. Lots of temptation with the bubblegum candy to the temptation room. I'm just like, I hope the next challenges have none of that. Hopefully they will be around healthy food. And we've seen them eat so much on the show. And again, I've said this before. I hate it. That's a strong word, but I hate watching them eat unhealthy food. And I know it's to set up a story, you know, to show that this is what they've been doing to get to where they at. But I want to start seeing them eat healthy food, carrots, greens.
Yeah.
I know it's not as exciting, but...
Well, you know, as we get deeper into the season, they're going to have some kind of cooking challenge. Yeah. They're going to have more nutrition challenges and showing what they eat, teaching them how to cook. So that's going to be really exciting. And the best part about the kids and having Dr. Joanna go in there and make those changes is that it wasn't just for them. Their parents now have to eat the same foods that they do. If they're going to get those things out of the house, you know, it's going to make the entire family healthier versus just the child if the child was on the ranch. So I think that was just an extra benefit of having these kids participate and actually keeping them at home because they can't do it by themselves.
They can't.
They're only kids. They're not the ones buying the groceries. So if anything is going to change in their diet, it's actually going to have to start with their parents. So, you know, just it's going to be exciting to see what they learn and how their families evolve from it.
This episode, we seen a couple more stories unfold. We learned a little bit more about 2 of our favorite characters. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Yeah. Well, first off, Francelina comes to mind.
Love her.
Immediately, because she finally, you know, she took time to work out with Jillian's team, which I also thought was interesting. And
when I seen that, I thought that because Jillian's only down to 2 members, I thought she was going to trade off to that team.
Like recruiter.
I
thought that too.
And Jillian was acting very nice and opening up. I'm like, I see you, Jillian, trying to get members on your team.
Yeah.
But, you know, Francelina finally, we talked about at the beginning too, they didn't really show all the backstories for a lot of the contestants on the first episode, but they finally broke into Francelina's story, and she talks about how her dad was an alcoholic while she was growing up. So he was always hot and cold with her. She never felt good enough, but she wanted to love him anyway. And so you just saw that struggle and the pain in her eyes about that was what is holding her down. That's the weight on her shoulders. That's why she turns to food. And unfortunately, her father passed away when she was 16, I believe she said. But what I really loved that Jillian said was, you have to put yourself in his shoes. Why did he turn to alcohol? It's the same way why you turn to food.
Love that.
So that was really profound. And I think that's something we can all take into our own lives with friends and relationships in our life. Why do they behave the way they do? So.
Yeah.
We also seen Kate and her story unfold, and it was touching as well. And I know Kate's one of your faves.
I love Kate. Who does not love Kate? If you don't love Kate, you have no heart. Because she's like the sweetest person that's on this show. And you know, she's really been a self-motivator just in the few episodes that we've seen. So it was really cute to see her and Dolvette have a heart-to-heart. She, you know, was exercising and she broke down. And when Dolvette really started to talk to her, she talked about how, you know, she couldn't believe that she got to where she was. And she realized that the reason she got there was because throughout, she looked in the mirror and didn't see anything wrong. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. I think you just gradually pack on pounds when you're not paying attention, and maybe you gained a little weight here and there, but you don't think there's anything wrong with it. And then the next week you gain a little bit more, and it just kind of gradually happens. And I think that may have been her case.
Yeah, I know for me, I'm the same way. I wouldn't say, you know, compared to society standards, I'm considered obese. But again, we've talked about curves. I'm Latina, I'm curvy, and that's just the way my body's built. And I know a lot of men, you know, they like curves. Well, some men like curves. So I kind of have gotten very comfortable in that. And I think that confidence really has kind of set me back with my fitness goals, because I'll do the same as Kate. I'll look in the mirror. I don't see anything wrong, because I think it's great to embrace yourself, be comfortable in your skin, and love who you are. But I think there's a thin line of being too comfortable. You always want to push yourself. You always want to challenge yourself. You know, you don't have to be stick skinny if that's not what you want to be. But it's about, you know, keep trying to be the better you, the best that you can be. So I definitely understood Kate when she was saying, I looked in the mirror and I was fine the way I was.
Right. Well, and I think it's different, like you're saying, to be comfortable in your curves, because I'm curvy as well. And I'm definitely comfortable in curves. I enjoy being curvy. I wouldn't change it for the world. But if I gain a little weight here and there, I might say, oh, you know what, it's no big deal. But if I'm not doing anything to just maintain health and, you know, getting my exercise in for other reasons aside from weight loss, I think that's something that really needs to be addressed globally, as well as that exercise. Sure, it's great to lose weight, but it's also for health reasons. And if you're looking in the mirror and you're not seeing anything wrong and you don't mind being overweight, you also need to take into account the other things that it's doing. It's not just the weight. Like we see the 60% heart disease risks in kids. So, I mean, there's so many things we could talk about, I guess, when it comes to these subjects. But the one thing about Kate that really just kind of blew my mind, and it was amazing that she really admitted this and broke down about it, was she talked about how she actually has a trainer.
That's right. Oh, and yes. I forgot about this.
She said that she would call it Fat Tuesdays. And every Tuesday she would work out with her trainer. And she sobbed when she just admitted how much she wasted her time. Because after her training session, she would go through a drive-through and get fast food.
And what she doesn't realize is that I'm a trainer, and I've told you guys, you know, I had a client who was similar, and, you know, to a certain extent, we do feel like you're wasting our time, but really, you're wasting your own time.
And Dolvett reminded her of that.
You're the one who's paying for the training. This is for you. We're just trying to bring the best out of you. So when you go home and you mess up and you don't work out during the week and you come back next week and you're the same weight or more weight than you were before, you know what? That's you. You're losing out. You're losing your earned money. So when she said that, I'm just like, it's time to really change.
Right. Yep. And you know what? Dolvett reminded her of that and said, you know what? You're not wasting her time because she's still taking your money. He didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. So you're not wasting her time, but you're wasting your own. And it was sad to see her break down and actually feel more guilty about the time she thinks she wasted for her trainer rather than what she actually did to herself. And I think so many people on The Biggest Loser, a lot of these women, you know, they have these guilt feelings for what they're doing to other people. They're always putting other people before themselves.
We are so empathetic as women. We do this all the time, and it's now...
I try not to be evil.
No, but we are a majority of us, and we need to stop it to a certain extent. We need to put us first sometimes, and especially when it comes to your health.
Yeah, so that was a good reminder. But the best thing that I love about Kate, and I think anybody that loves her will agree, is that she's positive, and what she said is, you know, part of this process is tearing yourself down and building yourself back up again. And as she sobbed, she said, and that's what I'm doing, right? And
she even pushes herself when she's down.
She pushes herself. I mean, we saw her last week giving herself a pep talk as she was like killing herself on the bike. So I just love her. And, you know, later on in the show, as she was working out with Dolvett, she mentioned how Dolvett told her early on that you're going to fall in love with the gym. And she said, this is hell. I will never love hell. And before you knew it, she said she was loving it. Yep. She was falling in love with it. So, you know, that was a really great story to see. I can't get enough of Kate.
Yeah. You know what I like about Dolvett, too, is the scenes that he had with Kate. the intensity in his eyes. It really goes to show that he cares about his team. And I was like really motivated and inspired just to watch Dolvette and the way he would just look at her. I was like, I would love that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that works for me.
I'm
That's
not staying
why
away from Bob.
I am Team Dolvette.
Jillian does that too.
She does.
Just
While
not
she
paying
yells
a
at
little
you.
differently. Yeah.
No. Oh my God, you guys! You just talked about the breakthrough that she had with Francelina.
She won me over a little bit. Speaking of
hard on
Team
her.
Jillian, let's go into the weigh-in. This is something that we've all been waiting for this whole episode. What we're gonna do is we're gonna.
I was gonna. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
too.
off, but I wanted to get to one point that we skipped, just because I thought it was interesting and something maybe we could all relate to. Okay. When we didn't talk really much about what happened in that kids' room and how the first time that they were in the kids' room, yes, I was dying laughing when we cut to them. Bob walks in and someone is face down on the couch. Face down on the couch. First of all, who sleeps face down?
I would
Face,
feel like I'm
like
being
face
suffocated.
in the
I would hate
pillow.
that.
Down, and everybody's sleeping. It was funny to see the first day that they got out, everybody was so sluggish, and they had been in there for 4 hours sitting down, and it made me think of my work day. I mean, I do get up, and there's days where I'm moving around a lot. I actually do go up and down stairs sometimes, so I have my days where I'm actually breaking a sweat at work, oddly, but so many of us have office jobs, and we're sitting at our desk. And that was just 4 hours. A lot of us do it for 8 hours, and I can totally relate to being seated for so many hours, and at the end of the day, you don't want to work out. And that's exactly what happened to this blue team when they walked out. They said they felt so sluggish. They were like yawning, and it just looked like that much more torture to actually get through their workout. So I thought that was an interesting moment, and I don't know, it just really stood out to me.
Well, I even said it in the screening room too, like, you know, not eating the food, that's great, that's one thing, but I probably would have entertained myself and played the arcade games just to make time go by faster.
Right.
I mean, why didn't anyone do that? It's like, at least you're doing something.
I don't know.
As long as it's not eating.
Brain activity burns calories. It really does. I'm not lying. I'm not giving anyone an excuse to play video games, but I mean, and you know what though? We all thought maybe they couldn't work out in the room, and I still don't know if that was the case. Like, we didn't really get clarification on that.
I think I heard that, and that's why you didn't. Yeah.
So maybe that's why when Bob came in that last time, because their 4 hours was over, he was able to do it.
And I think it's because they all were really, like, you know, after their experience, they came out with that eye-opening, like, wow, this is what kids really do.
Yeah.
I think it was for them to really get into the shoes of obese kids and what they're going through, so that kind of brings more awareness to
And
adults.
they need to be pushed. I mean, if they're not pushed to go outside and play starting at a young age, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, it falls
but
into a routine.
A part of this, then when Bob goes in to do their last chance workout and he keeps them in the room and does the workout with the cards. So basically, to give you a brief overview of that, it's like, you know, there's 4 different suits in a card deck, and so he gave each suit a workout. So if he pulled a 4 of hearts, they had to do 4 squats, and he went through the entire deck. And by the end of their workout, they were drenched.
And you gotta imagine there's 52 cards in a deck. So they worked their butt off.
An ace was 11 burpees, which are my absolute, I don't even like
heard of that.
I don't even like the name. I don't even like the name.
It sounds terrifying.
Yeah, if you guys want
Horrible.
a copy of that workout, I'll tweet it out tonight. So follow me on Twitter. It's at MIS Mercedes. We don't have that much time, so we're gonna go into the weigh-in, and then we're gonna quickly do our weigh-in.
Can I say one thing though?
Yes.
One thing. The thing with that last chance workout that really proved a point is that, or to me, you can do a workout anywhere.
Exactly. And that was the point of the cards, because you can bring a deck of cards wherever you go. If you are away and at a hotel, pull out your deck. You only need a little bit of room. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can do it in your living room. You could do it in your office at work. You could do it in a hotel. So there's really no excuse.
You don't even need a deck of cards. You just need a little bit of space and some dedication, and pick a few things to do. You don't even need weights. You don't need much of anything other than the idea to do it and some time for yourself.
Funny story quickly. I used to train a bunch of teachers, and sometimes the gymnasium wasn't open. So I would literally have them in their room carrying, lifting books, squatting on, the little kids' chairs. And it was just hilarious. And that just proves that you can do it anywhere.
I love it.
All right. So what we're going to do for the weigh-in, we are going to break it down, each one of us, with our teams. So let's start with your team.
Team Bob. Blue.
Hey.
Okay.
Blue
So I was really nervous going into this weigh-in because, they had that punishment where they had to be in the kids' room for 4 hours. And I was really surprised by the numbers they were able to pull with the last chance workout that Bob did for them. The big one was Jeff, because you saw last week he only lost 0 pounds, nothing.
Yes.
And so that was a real excitement for me, was watching him get on that scale, and he went from 359 to 348. He lost 11 pounds. That's amazing. And then you had Alex, who lost 4, David, who lost 6, and he's been crippled with the crutches the whole time, hasn't been able to participate in the challenges, hasn't been really able to do the workouts. So I was really surprised with the number he was able to pull out with that. And then you had Michael, and Michael has been wanting to get out of the 400s so bad for so long. And tonight he finally was able to have that breakthrough, which I was so excited. Again, positive success stories. All right, so he lost 13 pounds, which brought him down to 396. And I'm really excited to see his progress as the show goes on. And last but not least, Gina. She's a tiny little lady, and she lost 8 pounds.
Yeah.
And she was so excited. And that's a big number, I felt like, for her to pull that with. So.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
In total, they lost 42 pounds.
Nice. That was quite impressive. I was very impressed. Now, Team Jillian. She only had 2 members. So it was scary.
It was definitely scary. And the blue team did such great, amazing numbers.
The pressure was on.
The pressure was way on. So I don't sadly have much to say about my weigh-in, seeing that I only have 2 people, but regardless, it was really a great success. Danny started at 234, who we are seeing to be one of the athletes. I think she's going to be one of the great ones this season. She started at 234 and lost 6 pounds, so was at 228. That was exciting because by the time it got to the white team, they had to lose more than 6 pounds. So she knocked out that 6 right away. So the pressure was really on with Pam.
I was sweating. I'm like,
Pam, the one who's constantly arguing with Jillian. I think we even get into like a cat fight, about just Pam's workout earlier this episode. So I think Jillian was frightened to see what number Pam was going to pull. Pam started out at 219 last week and was 210. She lost 9 pounds. Everybody was shocked. All she needed to win this weigh-in was 1, and she pulled out 9. We saw her do some crazy freaky dance, go wild, throw it in Jillian's face. But the best part of this was that Jillian said, okay, you know what this means? This means you can no longer tell me what you will and will not do. You can no longer complain. And she just pointed it out that if you do what I say, this is what you're going to see. I don't want to hear I can't do it because you can do it. And there's the number on the scale. And I thought that, Pam, she was all excited and happy, but I think Jillian really needed to say that to her.
Yeah, she did. I agree.
And Pam was the biggest loser of the week.
Hey.
So go, Pam.
All right, now to my team, which is Team Dolvet. I'm going to go through this quickly, and, we'll get into who is going to get voted off.
Right.
All right. So Francelina, she lost 5 pounds this week. That brought her down to 237. Joe lost 9 pounds, which brought him down to 317. Jackson lost only 2 pounds, brought him down to 300. Kate, we love Kate.
Favorite Kate.
Minus 2 pounds, brought her down to 218. And Lisa, only 2 pounds. Now, the whole team loss was only 20 pounds for 5 people, which wasn't that great. So what this means was one of them was going to have to go home. And the way they did it this episode was their own team had to vote one of them off, which I'm just like, they are bringing this back? Are you serious? So, it was close, but they voted Kate off this episode.
Killer.
I was really bummed, just because she is one of our big favorites this season, and I just feel like her time was so short-lived on the ranch, and it was really disappointing.
I was kind of surprised because Jackson was really low last week, so this was his second week, so I thought people might take that into account.
Yeah.
But I will say, as much as I love Kate and am pissed to see her go because she's like Kate the Great to me, I actually agreed with what they said and why they sent her home. I don't think she deserved to go home. I wish she could have stayed.
She had the
needed
most
that
fight in her.
Yes.
But I really do believe that of all the people sitting up there, if anyone could do it at home, she could do it.
Yeah,
because she was self-motivating, and it didn't take anybody to get her to do that.
Yep,
and that's all she needed.
She definitely motivated herself, and we seen that because after we got a glimpse of her now, she began at 237 and she is now down to 196, and she looks great. And
good.
She explained to us that she has no more Fat Tuesdays. Her Tuesdays are now Fit Tuesdays. So we are so excited to see her prep for her marathon, because she said the next time America sees her, she will have had run a marathon.
Yeah.
So we are excited to see that. Now, before we go, we're going to quickly do our weigh-in.
You guys go
You know
right
what?
ahead.
I'll go first, and I'll shout out my weight to you guys.
Perfect.
Oh, Lord.
We're going to take off our shoes.
Can I, while you're going on there, I just need to explain that I am so not. I don't know yet that I'm ready to do this. I'm going to think
That's
about
fine.
it. I'm going to take a beat.
I ate so much today. I mean, I tried to work out.
Don't you sound like the contestants before they get on the scale? I tried.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's hear it.
140.
That's good.
But that's not my usual weight. Usually I'm let me get back on the mic. All right, so I weighed in at 140.2. I'm a little disappointed in myself because I've been working out, and you should see my refrigerator. It's all greens. My roommate went in there. She was like, there's nothing to eat because it's all greens. So I'm a little disappointed, but do you want to go next?
Absolutely.
It's okay.
Now, can I say before James gets up there and before I'm totally called out for being the one person not doing this, James straight out told me he needs to gain weight.
All my friends make fun of me because
So-
I'm always counting calories, and they're like, this is not healthy.
So you know what? Maybe we'll measure next time. I'll bring in
Like
some,
inches?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
That
I
way
like
we can
that.
see.
I'm nervous.
I was
James,
nervous
you're making
too.
me nervous. I
Going
know.
down.
It's
Wait.
going down?
Oh,
That's
gosh.
amazing.
Why does it say 1 and it keeps flip-flopping between 1 and 2? Did I do something wrong?
Okay,
Did I
step
press
off
Maybe.
again. Step off again.
Maybe.
Now tap the side. I'll do it.
Oh, tap here to activate.
Okay.
Read, James.
I missed the detail.
Okay, he doesn't know how to use a
That's
scale.
okay.
You see how much he
See,
goes online?
I know. Because he
I
needs to
don't
gain
understand.
weight. So the last thing he's doing is weighing himself.
It's 174.
Okay,
174. And you're a tall guy, James. How tall are you?
6'2".
6'2".
I'm tiny. I'm
I think
5
you're
feet,
good.
you guys. So 5 feet at
Yeah.
140.
What am I? I'm 5'6".
All right,
I think
let's
I'm 5'6".
go.
I'm not doing it. And I'll say, no, I'm not going to
Yes,
do it.
come
And you guys could call
on.
me out. Maybe I will. I'm going to give it.
Come on, Lauren.
I'm
Let's
gonna
go.
give
We're a
it.
team.
See you
I'm not
player.
gonna I'm not gonna give in to peer pressure. I am a player.
No, but
I know.
This is
This is for the
and this is for the fans too.
26,000 viewers.
Yeah.
And listeners.
We're gonna go
Oh,
through this
that's
together.
not pressure. Okay. I want to hear everybody else's comments on this. If you seriously need me to get on the scale, I want to hear what people have to say. And I'm not doing this for the fans. I'm not doing it for me, and maybe a lot of people can relate. How many people out there watching are ready to get on the scale in front of 26,000 people? And it's not, it's not that I'm not ashamed of my body, but maybe I just don't know that I'm ready to do that. I'm ready to take this challenge and do it for myself. And I do want to do this with the fans, so I know my weight. And I'm going to be monitoring it. I'm going to be working out, and I'm definitely serious about doing it. But I don't know yet that I'm ready to step on the scale and just blurt it out. I think maybe if I were in your position, I would feel more comfortable. If I was working out nearly every day, and that's like your life, that's what you do for a living. I know when I was working out regularly, I had no problem talking about my weight. And even if it wasn't the best number,
But see, honestly,
was
I feel
fit.
the opposite. I feel as a trainer, I should be in the best shape of my life. And I feel
But you might
at that
be.
weight, I'm not. I've been in the best shape before, and this isn't it. And I feel like this is challenging me, even though,
Right.
you know, we all feel differently about it. You know, hopefully over the week you'll think about it. Maybe next week you'll feel different. Maybe you won't. You know, you guys out there, if you want to join with us, go to thebiggestloser.com, join the challenge. Our team name is AFTERBUZZ, and after we get our weigh in today, I'll put in the pounds and we can start our challenge. So
can I say one more thing too that was really profound that Kate said that I think, you know, we can leave with our viewers, is that being healthy is not a chore, that it's a gift.
Oh, I wrote that down.
I think
that was the best.
Extremely profound statement to end the episode with, and I feel like it's something.
And it was the last thing we're gonna hear of Kate until the finale, unfortunately, which I'm so sad about.
It is, because you don't know how great your health is until it's gone. Yep. So, all right, you guys at home, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, you can find me on Twitter at Miss Mercedes, MISMERCEDES.
And you can find me at @low_Valles, VALLES.
And you can find me on Twitter at James Wallington, WALLINGTON.
So we will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.